Hey, it's Naomi. Remember that case from December that had the entire world talking? The one where a CEO got shot in broad daylight in Manhattan. And instead of outrage, people started calling the shooter a hero? Girl, we need to talk about this. Because what I found out will blow your mind. And honestly, it's going to make you question everything you think you know about justice in America.
December 4th, Manhattan, 6:45 a.m. The streets are busy with the usual morning rush. Brian Thompson, Chief Executive Officer of UnitedHealthcare, steps out of his hotel and starts walking toward his company's investor conference. He has no idea that someone has been watching him, tracking his every move for over a week. Within minutes, Thompson is lying on a Manhattan sidewalk, shot multiple times by a masked gunman who disappears into the crowd like a ghost. The FBI launches one of the biggest manhunts in recent history. His face is plastered everywhere. And then something unprecedented happens. Instead of the usual outrage, instead of calls for justice, millions of Americans start doing something that shocked the entire world.
Wait. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you saw a murder case where 99% of the comments were supporting the killer? Like, I'm talking about people calling him a hero, saying he did what needed to be done. That should tell us something, right? But let's back up, because this story is way deeper than what you saw on the news.
For 5 days, America was obsessed. Who was this guy? How did he just vanish in the middle of Manhattan? The surveillance footage showed someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Professional, calculated. This was not some random act of violence. The shooter used a silencer. He had an escape route planned through Central Park. He even left behind shell casings with words written on them. Deny, defend, depose.
Girl, those words gave me chills. Because if you've ever dealt with insurance, you know exactly what that means. Deny the claim, defend against appeals, depose the patient. It's literally the playbook these companies use to avoid paying for your care. So this wasn't random, this was personal.
Then, on December 9th, a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. A worker recognized the face that had been on every screen in America. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, 26 years old, Ivy League educated, from one of Maryland's wealthiest families.
Now I want you to think about this. Have you ever been in chronic pain? Have you ever had insurance deny something you desperately needed? Have you ever felt completely powerless against a system that's supposed to help you? Keep that in mind as we go deeper, because Luigi's story is about to get really complicated.
On paper, Luigi had everything. Valedictorian at his prep school, a computer science degree from the University of Pennsylvania, a successful family business. The American dream, right? But behind that perfect facade was a nightmare that millions of Americans know all too well. Luigi suffered from spondylolisthesis, a spinal condition that causes excruciating pain. After a surfing accident made it worse, he underwent spinal fusion surgery in July 2023. The surgery was supposed to fix everything. Instead, it destroyed his life. Chronic pain, numbness, days where he could not get out of bed. A young man with his whole future ahead of him, suddenly trapped in a body that betrayed every single day.
And here's where it gets really heartbreaking. Luigi started disappearing from his friends and family. His mom was so worried she filed a missing person report. This wasn't some cold-blooded killer. This was someone in so much pain that he couldn't even function anymore.
But Luigi did not just suffer in silence. He started researching, learning about the healthcare industry, and about how insurance companies maximize profits by denying care. And the more he learned, the angrier he got. Now let us talk about Brian Thompson. This was not just any CEO. Thompson ran UnitedHealthcare, the largest health insurance company in America. Under his leadership, the company became notorious for something that should shock you. They had the highest claim denial rate in the entire industry. It was a company that made $22 billion in profit last year, while denying coverage to people who desperately needed it.
Let me put this in perspective for you. UnitedHealthcare uses AI to automatically deny claims. They know most people won't appeal, so they just say no and hope you give up. Brian Thompson's salary? $10 million a year. That's $10 million made by saying no to people who are sick and dying.
Thompson wasn't just a businessman. He was the face of a system that treats healthcare like a commodity instead of a human right. And Luigi? Luigi had become intimately familiar with that system.
I want to pause here and ask you something. When you hear about someone making millions by denying healthcare to sick people, how does that make you feel? Because I think that feeling you're having right now, that's exactly what Luigi was feeling, but amplified by chronic pain and desperation.
This wasn't a crime of passion. Luigi spent months planning this. He researched Thompson's schedule. He knew about the investor conference. He traveled from Pennsylvania to New York over a week before the shooting, staying in a hostel under a fake name. For days, he conducted surveillance around Thompson's hotel and the conference venue. He studied the area, planned his escape route, prepared for every detail.
Think about that level of planning. This wasn't someone who just snapped. This was someone who made a calculated decision that Brian Thompson represented everything wrong with American healthcare. And honestly, when you look at the comments online, millions of people agree with that assessment.
The morning of December 4th, Luigi positioned himself between two parked cars on West 54th Street. He waited, and when Thompson walked by, he executed a plan months in the making. 3 shots. Thompson collapsed. Luigi fled on a bicycle, disappearing into Central Park like he had practiced it 100 times. And this is where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. Within hours of Luigi's arrest, something happened in a way I have never seen in a murder case. Social media exploded, not with condemnation, but with support. The hashtag #FreeLuigi started trending. People called him a hero, a martyr, someone who finally did what millions of Americans had fantasized about.
Girl, I spent hours reading these comments and they broke my heart. People sharing stories about watching their parents die because insurance wouldn't cover treatment, about going bankrupt from medical bills, about choosing between medication and food. Are we starting to see why people relate to Luigi?
The comment sections were flooded with personal horror stories, medical bankruptcies, denied treatments, loved ones who died because they could not afford care. Luigi became a symbol, not of violence, but of the rage that builds when you are failed by a system that is supposed to protect you.
And here's what really gets me. The government is treating Luigi like a terrorist. They're talking about the death penalty. Meanwhile, healthcare executives who deny life-saving treatments to maximize profits, they get bonuses and golden parachutes. Does that seem right to you?
The federal charges against Luigi are unprecedented. They are not just charging him with murder, they are charging him with terrorism. Using a firearm to commit murder could carry the potential of the death penalty. Interstate stalking resulting in death carries the possibility of life in prison. They are throwing everything they have at him. Why? Because they are terrified. Not of Luigi, but of what he represents.
Real talk, I think the government is scared that Luigi inspired something, that other people might look at this broken healthcare system and decide they've had enough. And honestly, based on the public reaction, maybe they should be scared.
The message is clear. You can deny healthcare to millions and get rich doing it. But if you fight back, if you take matters into your own hands, they will make sure you never see daylight again.
So here's my question for you. Is Luigi Mangione a cold-blooded killer, or is he a symptom of a system that's so broken it drives people to desperate acts? Because honestly, the fact that millions of people see him as a hero should terrify every healthcare executive in America. When people are more angry at the system than they are at someone who committed murder that tells you everything you need to know about where we are as a society. Luigi's story is tragic on every level. For Brian Thompson's family, for Luigi's family, and for everyone who sees themselves in his struggle with chronic pain and a system that failed him. What do you think? Is he a hero or a terrorist? Drop your thoughts below, but remember, real families are hurting on both sides of this story. And if this got you thinking like it got me thinking, subscribe. Because this conversation is just getting started, and I have a feeling this case is going to change everything.